Hello everyone, welcome to my website hosting project using Linux servers. This is part of my learnings for DevOps, and this is the manual process for hosting a website using a Linux server. The tools I'll be using are Git Bash, Vagrant for my virtual machines, and we will use a free template from centos7pt1. So the whole idea of this project is to understand the manual process of hosting a website on a server. At the end of the day, this will lead to automating this process both locally and on the cloud. So this is the first step in understanding, some Linux servers and a bit of automation. So let's get started. So we'll firstly pick a template from centos7pt1. I think this vertex template will be fine for us to use. And then we will start by creating a virtual machine using Vagrant. So the first step in creating a virtual machine using Vagrant is to usually have a directory where you store the configuration file. So I'm going to use the mkdir command. Since we are using the vertex template, I will name the folder template. I will name the folder vertex. So basically what I'm doing is creating a folder. That folder is going to be in this Vagrant folder. You can see desktop Vagrant VMS. That's the same folder here. I'm going to be creating this vertex folder using some Linux commands. So make directory vertex. Let's look at our Windows Explorer again. You can see our vertex folder has been created. So when we use Vagrant for virtual machines, the first command is Vagrant init. Now this creates a configuration file in your folder. So now it's the step. I need to change directory into that vertex directory because that's where I want to have my configuration file. So right now I'm in the vertex directory and I'm going to say Vagrant init. Now the Vagrant init command needs a parameter, which is the Vagrant cloud box. So the Vagrant box the Vagrant box is basically the operating system that you want to install on your virtual machine. So on the Vagrant cloud site, if I take a step back, you have a number of options for operating systems. These are CentOS. I did a CentOS search. Let me clear that so that you can have a better view of what the options are. So you have Ubuntu, HashiCorp, CentOS, have any number of operating systems that you might want to use. But I want to use CentOS. I have selected from Gerling-Guy CentOS. So that's what I want to use. I want to use this Vagrant box, Gerling-Guy CentOS 7, and the parameter I need is the config VM box. I'm going to copy this. This is what I will use with my Vagrant init command. So Vagrant init, paste that there and hit enter. So this will place a Vagrant file in my vertex folder. So it says Vagrant file has been placed in this directory. If you go back to Windows Explorer, open the vertex directory, we have a Vagrant file. So the next step is to edit this Vagrant file. You can use Notepad 2. And within this file, there are several configuration parameters that have been commented out with the hash symbol. So what the hash symbol does is it basically disables the parameters. You can see that there are still a few that I enabled: Vagrant configure, the config VM box name, So what I want to do is I want to give my virtual machine a static IP address that will allow us to access it over the internet. So I'm going to remove the hash symbol from this parameter here, config.vm.network private network. I will change this to the IP address. I will change it to 50. I don't think I've used that previously. You can also give it a dynamically assigned IP address by taking out the hashtag for the config VM network public network parameter there. You can also come down here and assign some memory to your virtual machine. By default, CentOS uses 512 MB, but if you want to increase that, you can come down here and just enable that by taking out the hashtags within this block of text here. I think that's fine. So we save, come back to git bash, and to start up your virtual machine, command to use this vagrant up. So I do that and hit enter, still in my vertex folder, and that should begin to provision a virtual machine with a CentOS 7 operating system. So that is spinning up now. You can see the progress. It might take a few minutes, depending on your internet connection, I guess. So let's just hold on and allow Vagrant to do its thing. So to boot in the VM, I have to learn how to edit my videos, and I can speed up some of this process, but just wait to see it out for now. Still bringing up the virtual machine. Online connection reset, retrying. We don't need to worry about that. That's just part of the process. It will eventually create a virtual machine for us to use. So let's just give it a few more minutes. Okay. Looks like we are making progress. Okay, so it looks like our virtual machine has been created. So we can say vagrant status. Let's check that. Okay, and it says current machine states default running. So we have a virtual box, a virtual machine running, and if we come here, you will see vertex default running. So we have a virtual machine up and running. So next thing is for us to SSH into the virtual machine. That is, SSH is secure shell, and it just allows us to connect to the virtual machine and run command. So we use vagrant SSH command to get into that virtual machine. That won't take long, just a few seconds. And we are in. So I'll clear the screen. We can say pwd. So it shows you the directory you are in. We are in the home vagrant directory. You can say who am I? Vagrant user is usually known as vagrant. All right, so we have a virtual machine. We want to proceed with installing a server and then hosting our website. So next step will be to switch to the root user, sudo -i. So we are now the root user, and what we want to do, we need to install a few things here. you need to install a web server that is HTTPD. We'll be downloading some zipped files, so we need to check that we have the zip utility and also the wget utility. Wget is what helps us to download packages from the internet, so I'll do that check. I'll say wget, and it says missing URL, so it shows me that wget is installed here. Usually use wget with a URL for a download package. I'll try the unzip as well. Enter, so command not found. So we need to install the unzip utility. I'll clear my screen again. To install on CentOS, I believe the command is yum install. So I want to install a web server, that's HTTPD, and I want to install unzip. I'll use the -y to. What that does is it -y just responds yes to any questions that might come up during the install process. So I hit enter, and the installation should go through. I don't think we will have any issues there. So it's installing a web server and the unzip utility. It will, download the necessary packages and dependencies. So let's just wait for that to finish up. Sorry, this takes a while, but not too long. Okay, downloading packages. Okay, complete. So we should have our web server installed and unzip utility. So I'll clear the screen again. When you install a web server, you need to start it up. So the command to use is systemctl start httpd. And then what that does is it starts the web server, but once you log out or shut down this system, the web server is also shut off. So when you log back in, you have to restart it. So to solve that problem, you run system enable httpd bash system not found. Oh, sorry, systemctl enable httpd. Okay, so we have our web server running. We can say, just to confirm, we can say systemctl status, just to confirm that. Okay, so that shows that our HTTPD service is active and running. Now we've done, we have our web server up and running, and we can check that. So the folder for default folder for web server is the .html folder. So we switch into that folder, and that folder is empty. And usually the default file that's usually in here is the index.html. So I can create that file and say vi index.html and just put in some content here. Say this is my sample site test page, right?